On this special episode of Out and About Art, I'll be sharing some arts and crafts activities that you can do from inside the safety of your own home. Stay tuned for this episode of Inside Art. A lot of us are working from home right now or looking for things to do while staying inside. So these are a couple of arts and crafts activities you can do to help point your brain in a positive, more calming direction. If these segments look familiar to you, it's because I filmed them for another PGTV show that we had called Brain Food, which was aimed at kids. That being said, these would be great to do with kids if you have them, but they're also just as fun to do by yourself. I hope you enjoy. Shakespeare was born on April 26, 1564 in a place called Stratford-upon-Avon in England. He had 7 brothers and sisters. Not much is known about his childhood, but historians guess that he didn't attend school beyond the 8th grade because it was considered a luxury at that time. After getting married and having children, Shakespeare's works began appearing on stage in London at the Globe Theatre. He wrote at least 37 plays, 2 volumes of poetry, and 150 sonnets. He introduced almost 3,000 original words to the English language, which are still used today. He's also responsible for famous phrases such as green-eyed monster, good riddance, to be or not to be, wild goose chase, and off with his head, among countless others. He even created the knock-knock joke. The phrase knock knock who's there was first found in his play Macbeth. For this craft, you will need yellow or gold construction paper, black construction paper, scissors, glue, a ruler, a single hole puncher, a paper fastener, and little jewels, sequins, beads, or other decorations for your crown. First, cut out a 2-inch wide strip of yellow or gold construction paper long enough to go around your head. This piece will be the crown's base. Glue the ends of the strip together to form a circle. Cut out 2 strips of black construction paper that are 1.5 inches wide by 10 inches long. Glue the first strip across the middle section of the base. Position the second strip perpendicular to the first strip. Try to make sure that both strips are at the same height. Glue the ends in place. Cut out 6 strips of yellow or gold construction paper. Each strip should be 1.5 inches wide and 8 inches long. Next, cut out a curved end on one side of each strip. Then punch a hole near the tip of each strip. Glue each of your yellow or gold strips inside the base of your crown so that they're evenly spaced out. Try to glue them all at the same height along the base. Now we're going to make a cross-shaped topper for our crown. Cut out 2 identical crosses from yellow or gold construction paper. Each cross should have a rectangular tab at the bottom. Cut them out and glue the crosses together without gluing the tabs at the bottom. Fold out the bottom tabs and punch a hole at the center of one of them. Now, punch a hole in the middle of the black strips on your crown. Insert your round paper fastener here. Take all of the strips and tuck them neatly under the cross. Then insert the paper fastener through the center hole of the crown. Turn your crown upside down and split the ends of the fastener. Now the structure of your crown is done. Decorate with sequins, rhinestones, beads, or plastic jewels. Wait for the crown to dry and then try it on. Historically, you can find celebrations of motherhood as far back as ancient Greece and Roman times, where festivals were held in honor of the mother goddesses Rhea and Cybele. In the United States of America, the origins of Mother's Day date back to the years before the Civil War, which was held from 1861 to 1865. A woman named Anne Reeves Jarvis from West Virginia started Mother's Day work clubs in order to teach women how to properly care for their children. After the Civil War, the clubs became a way for people to come together and set aside their differences in order to achieve a common goal of raising children. In 1868, she organized Mother's Friendship Day, during which mothers gathered with former soldiers from both sides of the war to promote peace. Anne Reeves Jarvis died in 1905, and her daughter Anna Jarvis created a Mother's Day celebration in May of 1908 to honor the sacrifices mothers make for their children. Thousands of people attended the celebration, so she decided to pursue adding Mother's Day to the national holiday calendar. It wasn't easy, and Anna Jarvis wrote many letters to newspapers and important politicians insisting that mothers be given this special day as their own. Her determination finally paid off in 1914, when President Woodrow Wilson officially established the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. For this do-it-yourself photo frame, you will need craft sticks or popsicle sticks, colored cardboard, white glue or a glue gun, poster paint, a paintbrush, scissors, a pencil, a ruler, and things to decorate your photo frame with. You can also create a magnet photo frame by getting a couple of little magnets to glue to the back of the frame. First, choose the shape of your frame. Arrange the popsicle sticks together however you'd like. You can be simple and make a square, or you can play around and make a custom design. Next, paint the sticks. Use your mom's favorite color, or if you can't decide, paint each stick a different color. After the paint dries, glue the sticks together in the shape of your design. Now it's time to decorate your frame. Get really creative here by painting patterns or little designs, gluing on sequins or buttons, using paper or fabric cutouts, or even using natural materials like seashells, branches, or flowers. Next, trace the outline of the frame onto your piece of colored cardboard. Then, draw a slightly smaller version inside of the outline. The goal here is to make a backing board that is slightly smaller than the frame of the picture. Cut out the piece of cardboard and glue it onto the back of the frame. Cut your photo to a size that fits inside the frame, and then glue it onto the center of the cardboard. Now, if you want to make a magnet, you can glue 1 or 2 magnets to the back of the frame. Kites have been around for thousands of years, and they're part of many different cultures around the world. It is suggested that they were invented in China. Ancient sources describe kites being used for measuring distances, testing the wind, signaling, and communication for the military. Kites were first thought of as curiosities, but soon they began to be used for scientific experiments. For example, in 1752, Benjamin Franklin performed his famous electricity experiment with a kite. He waited until there was a storm and then proceeded to fly his kite, which was made out of silk. He noticed that a few of the threads of silk that were tied to a key were standing straight out, so he touched the back of his knuckle to the key and felt a shock. In the end, his scientific experiment proved that lightning is electricity. In addition, the early experiments of the Wright brothers involved studying birds and flying kites. Wilbur and Orville Wright are most famous for inventing the airplane, but most people might not know that it was their years of kite flying that directly led to this important invention. Today, kites are mostly used as a popular form of entertainment and artistic expression. There are local events and traditional festivals all over the world that display the unique artistry of kites and kite flying. The materials you will need for this craft are a full sheet of newspaper, 2 1/4-inch round wooden dowels. One is 24 inches and the other one should be 20 inches. You can get these at a craft store. A long piece of string, 300 feet or longer would be best. Scissors, a pencil, masking tape, a ruler or a yardstick, plastic bags from the grocery store, a cardboard tube, and a little handsaw or box cutter. Make sure that only your parent handles this. First, make sure that your wooden dowels are the right length. One should be 24 inches and the other should be 20 inches. If they're too long, cut off the excess with the handsaw or box cutter. Make sure that your parent handles this part because cutting into these dowels is dangerous. Now, lay down the 24-inch dowel and measure 6 inches from the top. Mark the spot with a pencil. Then, place the second dowel perpendicular to the first to form a cross shape. Wrap the dowels together where they meet and make sure they're fully secure. Now you have successfully created the frame of your kite. Lay it down on top of your sheet of newspaper and tape each end of the dowels to the sheet. Use your ruler to draw an outline that is about 1 inch bigger than the frame and then cut out the outline. Fold the edges of the newspaper over the dowel ends and tape them down securely. Next, cut a piece of string that is 24 inches long. Poke 2 holes each near the top and bottom points of the kite. Thread one end of the string through the top holes and tie it off onto the wooden dowel. Repeat with the other end of the string. This piece of string is called the bridle of your kite. Now, you will tie your flying string to about the middle of the bridle string so that you can fly your kite. Knot the other end of the flying string around a paper tube and wrap the rest of the string around the tube. Make a tail for the end of your kite by using plastic bags that you have laying around at home. Lay out a plastic bag and cut off the handles in the bottom like this. Then keep cutting straight across to create a bunch of rings. They don't have to be perfect, so don't worry if you have raggedy edges. Take 2 rings and loop them together like this. Keep going until you have a length that's about 6 times as long as the kite itself. Then tie the top of your tail to the bottom of your kite like this. Two French artists, Georges Seurat and Paul Signac, developed Pointillism in the late 1800s. The technique involves painting using only carefully placed dots of color. You could use small, fine dots of paint or larger dots to get a rougher effect. The theory was that the viewer's eye would blend the dots of color on a pointillist painting and create a more striking image. The common way people used to paint at this time was to blend colors on a palette and use conventional brushstrokes, so this was an important revolutionary technique that actually started a whole new movement of painting. Here are some examples of paintings using the Pointillism technique. Stained glass is an ancient form of art that reached the height of its popularity in the Middle Ages and can be found all over the world, from Southwest Asia to Europe. It was first created as an effective way of illustrating the story of the Bible to people who couldn't read. Stained glass is most often found in places of worship, such as churches, cathedrals, and synagogues. But today, it's also found in people's homes in the form of windows, lamps, or other decorative elements. In 1857, J&R Lamb Studios in New York City became the first major decorative art studio in the United States to produce stained glass. Some examples of famous artists who took up this art form were John Lafarge and Louis Comfort Tiffany. Another artist who created beautiful stained glass work might be familiar to you. Frank Lloyd Wright, an American architect, interior designer, writer, and educator, designed many beautiful works of stained glass. You can even see some of them for yourself at Florida Southern College. For this craft, you will need a glass jar, glass paint outliner, transparent glass paint, paint brushes, a washable marker, and cotton swabs. First, use your washable marker to draw a design on the jar. Now it's time to use your glass paint outliner. Trace over the outline you made with the marker and let the lines dry completely. Once it's completely dry, you can erase any leftover marker outline that you see with a cotton swab. Now it's time to paint. Use whatever colors you'd like to paint inside the outlines. Continue painting until you've colored the entire jar and then set it aside to dry. Try putting a tea light candle inside to see it light up your cool design. Well, that's all I've got for this month. I hope that these segments were helpful to you in providing inspiration for arts and crafts that you can do in your own home. Stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you next month for more art.